Welcome to the H.U. Move Makers podcast, where we highlight folks that are blazing the trail and making moves in Howard culture. Welcome to the H.U. Move Maker podcast, where we highlight Howard trailblazers and move makers. I got a lot of respect for these guys specifically because, you know, they take a lot of pride in making sure that homecoming is lit and for everybody, really. So these are the guys, the founders of Paradigm Group. So I got Trey, well, he should be on pretty soon, Brandon Banks, Major. I'm going to just say Dr. Duclas Charles. That first name I'm kind of struggling with. But if you know about Black Alumni Ball, Black and Bougie, GoHAM, 1867 Privilege, these are some of the staple events that they do for homecoming, even though they do other events all year round. So I really want to welcome you guys to the show. Definitely appreciate you coming. You know, I used to be the one dude doing parties by myself, then these dudes popped up with sponsorships from everybody, monopolizing everything, you know, fucking up my situation. But anyway, hey guys, hey, welcome to the show, man. I'm glad to have y'all on. Glad we can you know, have this conversation, because I think a lot of folks don't know what it's like to put together these events, man. So tell me, if somebody could tell me what is Paradigm?
Word. I guess I'll take that one. So yeah, Paradigm. We're an experiential marketing company. Essentially now, agency. We produce events all over the country. We've done events in most of the major markets. So Chicago, New York, Miami, Philadelphia, Houston. We pulled some stuff off in New Orleans already. LA. Am I missing anything, fellas? DC, obviously. So yeah, we're just an experiential marketing company, produce events all over the country, and the goal is to create spaces for professionals that look like us, so that they can celebrate life together safely, and just also build a network amongst each other. So building community as well. So that's a bit about Paradigm, and as a collective, Trey, Banks, and myself, we do that. And then as a larger collective, Trey, Banks, myself, and Major has his own company that he can speak to. He does a lot of great major things, no pun intended. But he does a lot. He does a lot of big things.
Let me find out you got bars too, man.
Major does a lot of big things as well. But and he can speak to his brand and his company as well. But as a collective, we are GoHamHU, Homecoming at the Mecca, and together we produce a lot of the homecoming events that many people have grown to love, amongst some other things. So we've been a team for a while now, whether it's been under a title or a company. The four of us have been working together for a minute.
So how did this shit get started, man? Like, what was the first? I mean, I know that everybody was in their own lane respectively, but how did y'all join forces? Cause y'all like the evil empire, man. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all got Major doing graphic design, you know, hoarding his talent. I asked him for a flyer, take him like a month to get it back, but I know he pump them back out for y'all quick, man.
Oh man.
You know, how did y'all get started and form this evil empire, man, of hoarding all the millennials? How did that happen?
Oh man, who wants to tell that story?
I give it to Major. I'll say, okay, we're all at Dirty Bar, I think, or something going on. I think it was homecoming or it's graduation, and we looked at each other, and Major low-key challenged us. He was like, "Yo, bro, if I ever look at this again and we're not a part of it, it's gonna be beef between all of us, something like that."
Remember that.
Those kind of words, but more so encouragement. Like, yo, like step up to the challenge because y'all have that emphasis. You know, people like y'all. People want to party with y'all. Give it to them, you know? And I think all of us looked at each other and said, you know what? There's a line of respect that we have. We've already had enough homecomings where we got a chance to observe what we like and we dislike and what we want to give to the table. And I think it was that time where we looked and said, you know what? We're better together than individuals in this space when it comes to Howard, because Howard's a big family anyway. So if you have 4 different people from different angles of Howard at the same time working together, you're going to give them exactly what the people want. And then we expanded it even further because we saw that there's other groups of Howard that's maybe aligned with us as well that we want to tap into. So it creates that big family community. And it started from a little encouragement, and then the rest was history. So
that's crazy because So Trey, where you from, Trey?
I'm from Houston, Texas originally.
And Major,
if they say
it. Major, where you from?
I'm a local, bro.
Duke.
Yo, New York, Brooklyn, man.
And Brandon, where you from?
From New Orleans.
Okay, cool. No, so that's a dope story, man, because I mean, you guys essentially have been able to corner much of homecoming, man, and not just doing like one staple event here and there. And I want to focus specifically on homecoming just because, it is a Howard podcast. The ability to do multiple events, competing events on one day, serving different audiences. You know what I'm saying? I think that's, very, very compelling. So when Major had this bright idea, I mean, was it like a brainstorm session or like what happened? Was like, what was the first event that y'all did together?
So yeah, I'll take this one. So basically the conversation Trey was talking about was like 2013, 2014. I think I was just finishing up. It was 2014 homecoming. Yeah, I had just graduated from pharmacy school and we had just done DC Grad Week together. So this kind of stemmed off of that. So we have been doing DC Grad Week together for about 2-3 years at that point, where similar concept. We did a week of graduation parties for everybody at Howard and then all of the Black grad students from all the PWI schools in the surrounding areas. And having done that for 2-3 years, now we have the data from 2, 3, 4 years worth of alumni at this point that we can also convert into homecoming. And the first party we did together on our own was Privilege at Capital. It was a Friday night party, right? And essentially after that, everybody had their own events, but either we were getting like the young boy deals on them, or we weren't getting as much participation or equity in the events as we would have wanted, and we felt like it was worth our value. So we sat back and was like, how can we recreate the same formula we have for graduation and do it for homecoming? I think the major thing for all Howard promoters, the reason why most Howard promoters started throwing parties during homecoming is because we looked at all of these outside promoters who had basically they look like us, but it was essentially culture vultures, right? You didn't go to Howard. You weren't a part of this experience, but you were making money off of this experience, right?
Yeah.
And you were utilizing the clout or the social equity from the folks who went to Howard to make your parties pop, take all the bread from it, and you're not giving it back in any kind of way. So it's like, yo, why not do that ourselves, right? And we knew we had a strong database, we had a strong following, and it was like, how do we, one, keep these parties for Howard people, keep them, genuine and like authentic to like our crowd, but then also empower the other promoters who might be getting boxed out the way we were getting boxed out at that age, right? So we were able to connect with, like, we had a younger group that we always work with called the Playmakers, and they're like 5 years younger than us, essentially. They had a major following. So it was like, yo, all the connections we got, we're going to give that to y'all. Whatever parties y'all trying to get going, we're going to support y'all and push that. It's going to be under this umbrella, right? And then also with our, we're supporting people that help support us. So like our older promoters that we used to work with, like Stevie from the Gifted Life, they started 1,000 Balls, all of that. It was like, all right, we're also going to use this to support you all. And now we'll find a way for all of the authentic parties essentially to be stamped with this Homecoming at the Mecca stamp and brand, and then take over the market essentially. So Trey, you got to add something.
Last thing, I think we have to include Josh Mercer next, because I think that partnership is going to happen after this phone call.
Yeah, facts.
And I know Josh is a lot older than us, and he got 5'6" and Kansas Pals that I'm a part of as well. So I'm a double person, just like he is. Banks got Pals, Duke got 5'6", Major got Howard University. So realistically,
I have nothing. It's okay.
No, you
it's
have
okay.
Howard University. You graduated. You have a degree, sir.
I was on the transfer students transfer union or whatever.
Yeah, but you have a degree. Okay.
I have to be telling people like Howard Homecoming is probably one of the 10 biggest like Black events in the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Like it's huge now. So when you guys started, what was y'all? Was it because you knew you could create better events? Was there a financial motivation at all?
My motivation was leaving a my personal motivation was leaving my imprint on the legacy that is Howard University. For me, I was a transfer coming out of Morgan State. And for me, I didn't get the whole full experience that these guys did with the organizations, living in dorms, all of that. I didn't have a lot of that. So I knew that I wanted to be a part of something that was going to mean something in 5, 10, 20 plus years. You know what I'm saying? I transferred to Howard for this, to be honest. Like Duclas knew me when I went to Morgan, when we were doing spot events at like Station 9 and stuff like that. Like I literally saw people like Trey and Jay Murphy and Chase and like Big Will. And I was like, I need to be over there with them. So I literally came to Howard for not for parties more so, but to be a part of that legacy. So that was my personal motivation. And I feel like we achieved that we're still in process, but you know, we in 3 years, we definitely made a name for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think going back to like Duke's earlier point, for me personally, is that just building that community and building that familiar type base where Howard students from our different generations and different times of going to Howard can all come together and celebrate under one umbrella and build like a family and community through events. So like Stevie having his generation, and then me, Duke, and Trey doing our events from our times of being at Howard, and then using major city influential presence that he had from his weekly events, and then also utilizing the Playmakers who are a couple years under us. We basically had like a vast time span where we wanted to bring everybody together and celebrate a community under one umbrella. And to me, that was my main motivation. It's like I was say a freshman, sophomore year when I started throwing events with Trey and H.U Dream Team with Chase and Chubby and them, just looking at how different Howard events would be thrown by, you know, different city promoters like your Anton Alexanders and people who never, you know, really experienced or really more so promoted a Howard event from the student perspective or from the alumni perspective. So for me personally is that knowing these people and sitting in different classrooms with them or looking at them in the yard and seeing them at different social events is how now we can bring and celebrate, how we can bring everybody together and celebrate under one roof, basically during the same time that we was on the same yard during the same time, basically.
So when you guys started, were you all trying to latch on to anybody? Did you ever reach out to any groups that might have said, nah, we straight, or, you know, here go, we'll put you on this tally, everybody say your name, we give you $3?
I think I'll take this one, and we all have different answers because I think we all took different routes. I know from my route, I wanted to observe and then, you know, jump in and execute. So God knows at the end of the day, it's not one of them handout games. Like, ain't nobody really there to, like, look out for you no matter what. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, it's business. So realistically, I was always trained to be, like, your own business starter. But I think, you know, us four together, we looked at a situation of how those next young people can be their own. Like the names Banks was mentioning beforehand, a lot of them like, hey, $3 a head or something like that. That scenario isn't the best scenario, and we understand that, and we always wanted to make it better. But sometimes you had to go through that to get there. And I'm sure we did our share of things, but we always wanted to figure out how to be our own bosses because that's the only way you can really be in a situation where we're in currently. But it's always how you look at it, you know, and I don't take away from anybody's route. It's just that we wanted to be in a space of leadership, and that's just the route you have to take to be a leader, you know. Observe your situation and then execute once you see, like, the void of it and, you know, be confident. So, but everybody got a different answer, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think for homecoming in particular, it wasn't us trying to latch on to anybody for homecoming or for GoHamHU. It was us detaching finally. Like, it was like the year where we said, yo, we've been working under so-and-so. We've been, you know, I've been bringing 500 people to this event, but I'm not even getting paid as a partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all got to that point where we were confident enough in ourselves to take the risk and, you know, taking that bar guarantee, taking that rental fee, you know, yo, all right, we're all working now at this point. All right, let's save up the money from the next 4 paychecks so we can put the deposit down on this club. Whatever it was, we got to the point where we were willing to detach from all of those bigger quote-unquote brands or entities or folks who have been doing it for a minute. I think, And what Trey is saying is it was the real motivation was to be a vehicle for others like us and under us to be able to do that without the BS that we had to go through.
I guess. Well, what's your definition of like a bad deal?
I think I should speak on this.
Yeah, Major.
Because Major and I had to deal with this for a minute.
I'm the weekly guy, right? And like, you know, you out 4 or 5 nights a week, man. And you, back in the day, you had to submit a guest list. And let's say Duclas team had to submit a guest list, and I had to submit a guest list. And it's, you know, free before 11. The doors don't open until 10:45. They slow roll the line. You know what I'm saying? And then if my name, if I have Ashley Witherspoon on the list and Duclas has Ashley Witherspoon on the list, nobody gets paid for it. So it's like you can submit a guest list, man, of like 200 people and walk out of there with $15, man. I done got envelopes at the end of the night with $15, $60, $5. And it was just a part of the grind that was just a part of the game. It didn't even frustrate me. It just was, I had to go through that. Duclas had to go through that a little bit too. I think Brandon and Trey didn't have to go through that on thing. I can't speak for y'all, but I don't think y'all ever had to
not the 15.
struggle with those.
Trey and Banks came from the special events route.
Passing out flyers. Like I was the guy that had to pass out flyers. I mean, I remember going to what was that, freshman week? My first freshman week experience being up there. I could not fathom how many young girls at the time I saw in one weekend, and everybody was just passing out flyers. It was like a flock to get the new incoming class. Man, I probably spent 48 hours on the campus actually, and probably only took home $150 of that entire Spirit week. I mean, not Spirit week, freshman week. But you had to go through that, man. I used to lie about going to Howard so people were comfortable with me while I was passing out flyers.
Major had the biggest Facebook wave ever. Like when we were freshmen, Major was the Facebook promoter. This was like the end of that Facebook era of events. When I say Major had a cheat code of time,
I had a cheat code.
I had to start reading. And it was hats off because Major had that grind and drive. That's why I said I got respect for it, because I understood and saw happening, and they just wanted to be at the top of where they are now. And that takes a real thing, because if you can't connect with somebody and understand what they may be going through and what deals they may have, he couldn't be in the same situation of saying, hey, I want better else, you know? And I think that takes all 4 of us where we all came from different routes, where it's like, oh, I understand.
This is back in the Love days. Like Overachievers used to run Love, Signature, Overachievers, Taz. Everybody was over there. And it was like $2 a head, all of that, right? Then we got to Station 9 Fridays. This is like end of freshman year, sophomore year. Same thing, like $3 a head. But there would be days I'd be at the door and I'd see like 100 people say my name. Like Major and I, we used to compete because we were the 2 youngest guys on that party. But we would bring out the most people. But then there would be days I'd go home like, this is all I'm getting? You know what I mean? And then that's when you get to a point where it's like, okay, I know I have this following. And that's why I say it's no such thing as a bad deal. When you're in a deal like that, you get to build up your brand and your following without taking any risk, right? Yeah. You don't have to worry about if the bar guarantee gets hit. You're not paying those expenses, right? You're just building up your brand on top of the investment that somebody else is doing. But once you get to a point where you have enough leverage, either the people you work with should respect that and, you know, bring you onto the table, or you just take that following somewhere else, which is what like Major and I did after a certain point. You know what I mean? When it came to those deals and weekly events. And the reason why I want to emphasize this thing is bad deals, because there are a lot of younger promoters that come up and even come up to us like, yo, nah, we want 20% of this. And then, off the rip, you know what I mean? It's just like, what have you done on your own? What do you bring to the table on your own? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's a deal I would ever take again. And that is an asterisk, because when I moved back to New York, I wanted to start doing events here too. And in the beginning, I had to show and prove. You know what I mean? I made sure in my meetings, I would say like, yo, this is a deal that you would give like a brand new promoter. I'm new to the city, quote unquote, even though I'm from here. But this is the first time and the last time you're giving me this deal. I said that with straight up confidence, and I made sure I hit that party out the park. And literally then I was, they knew that I was worth what I was saying.
So we'll have parties here, and then it'll be like a shooting at a black party or something will happen. And that'll hurt us big time, and we'll have to scale back and come out with rules and send out emails and all of that. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had to change how y'all do business because of something else that wasn't even associated with y'all?
I don't know. I know I'll speak for myself personally. I don't think I've ever had to deal with that like 100% directly, because a lot of the owners I've worked with or we've built that relationship where they already understand. But I definitely think people's apprehension of working with black promoters is because of the same reason why we got all this drama in the streets that we're having right now. Right? They all look at us the same way. Like, you could be wearing a suit or whatever. Like, I'll go into a meeting with the owner and like tell them like, yo, I'm a doctor and X, Y, and Z, and this is my crowd and X, Y, whatever. And they're still gonna be like, all right, how much security do I need? And and then after the first event, they'll see like, oh, everybody seems to know each other. Everybody's a professional.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll come back anytime. You know what I mean? But I don't think the violence, well, in the city that I've been in, and I think DC has been up and down and stuff, but there haven't been issues like that where it's affected myself personally.
Mm-hmm.
It affects a lot of what I do. Being the local promoter as well as the Howard promoter and having to dangle between those lines. I could tell a quick story of me being at a club for a meeting doing homecoming, and I think I was either waiting for Trey or I was waiting for Duclas, and I'm at a venue that I basically like grew up in, right? And when the owner walks in, he literally says out of his mouth, "What is Major doing here?" And was it you, Duke?
I'm not sure.
I can't say the name, but when he saw I was with Duclas, his whole picture of me changed. And after the
I know exactly what you're talking about.
After the successful party, my relationship with him changed, and it got better. He looked at me in a different view, a different light. So just having you don't want to label people, but they definitely have their perceptions of you. And I had to deal a lot with that. A lot of times with that.
Have y'all ever did a party, it's packed, and you ain't make no money?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
You said packed and did what?
For
you
years.
Didn't make any money.
A party that was packed and you didn't make any money.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Especially in parties that you have to buy out everything.
Yeah.
Oh man. But people don't get that though,
What event was in the red 2 years ago?
Huh?
What event was in the red 2 years ago?
DC grab, we did.
I was gonna say the consumer doesn't even know and understand sometimes.
They don't know.
Like,
I mean, think about it, like
all these people, but like even from you too, like Hard Rock still wants a bag. The thing is really with our culture, if we can figure out how to become owners of these places and do our parties at our own places, Lord Jesus, And
that's why ownership is so important.
Other people. Because these venues are making their money regardless. Like as a promoter, we're having to do all the legwork. Like we're working overtime just to hit the bare minimum. And then of course you have the vision of making a big profit. But we're not making a real bag until we can get the company corporate checks and until we own ourselves, our things ourselves. And I think the coolest thing and the biggest thing, if we can ever like communicate, is to our community, our consumers, to respect this the same way you're respecting your job too. Yeah. The biggest thing is like if we had our friends that looked at us as like, yo, this is my homie, they're not gonna be there to support us. But if they looked at like, yo, this is a job, I'm not coming to your place messing up your stuff, that would be awesome because they want the product anyways, but they want to give it to them or discount it. And that's fine because it's like our friends, but like realistically, you're paying for stuff that you want to be at anyways. Like we're paying for the movies they want to go to, Broadway show, concert, whatever else. If the party can be treated the same way, instead of it being second tier business, it's not. It's big business. And that's why I said it'll be cool to have a corporate company behind it, because realistically, people want to party for free. They feel like they can do it themselves, but realistically, it takes work. And the thing is, yeah, it looks easy for us because we thought about this a long time, and it's become muscle memory almost, because we're doing it for the right reasons and understanding what the consumer wants. And it's like, if they can understand that we've already put in the work in beforehand to give you this easy looking flow in public, I think, and I don't know how we have to communicate that, but in our business, if we can do that, man, that would be so crazy, you know?
To the Howard community, I think this goes to the Black community as well in general, just like, and not just with us as promoters, just support your people's business, bro. Like, if your boy's a graphic designer, like Major does all my graphics. Everything I need in New York and on the moon, I don't care what it is, he's doing it. If somebody's coming to me for like consulting work on building their brand, I just, I have a designer for you, use this designer. You know what I mean? When I start like getting into real estate, I'm gonna have to holler at Trey. Trey does that. You know what I mean? I think any business that somebody has that's in your network, your dollars should be going there. So if you are gonna pay for One Oak in Vegas to some promoters that have no idea who you are, and just because you're in Vegas and that's a brand name, why would you not pay a tenth of that, for your boy's event? You know what I'm saying? Of that somebody that you know.
So in regards to homecoming, man, biggest bag y'all ever got? Not even, you ain't got to get specific, but biggest bag. And you can give a range. Just
that boy counting pockets over there, ain't he?
Hey,
he's trying to inspire.
You know people want to know the answer to these. I mean, I'm gonna ask y'all biggest loss too. I mean, I've taken L's. You know what I'm saying? For real. I remember one time I had did the boat ride in DC. I was doing that. It was going well. So I was like, okay, it's time to expand this brand, So I rented out the 40/40 Club for New Year's Eve. And I didn't rent out the whole thing. I rented out like 3 or 4 rooms at the top. And this is back in like 2010. So I'm looking at all my data. I'm like, okay, I got a lot of New York people that purchased tickets to my party. Little did I know, people don't even, a lot of Howard people that lived in New York, they was going home for New Year's Eve. Yeah. And on top of that, 40/40 wasn't the spot for New Year's. You know what I'm saying? So I rented out, and of course I lost 30 grand. So it took me like, this is on a credit card, luckily, but it took me like 4 years to pay that off, just making them payments. And obviously I learned lesson from that, and I remember doing the boat ride one time. I mean, that boat ride, that's a huge nut to crack. I remember doing that party, putting in all that work and walking away with like 3 G's, like, damn, like, I'm not doing this again. You know what I'm saying? Cause it was a lot, you put up all that risk cause you to get the boat, you got to pay like 40 grand. But what you don't know is when you do these venues, all these like hotels, all these little fees come up to be like huge fees and line items when you add like tax and gratuity and all of that. That little $2 a person comes out to being like another 20 grand. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, it forced me to look at things as a business, because everybody has a great time. Oh, Josh, everybody, yo, man, this shit crazy. And you in your head like, damn, this shit, like,
yeah,
this is my homecoming. You know what I'm saying? Not only, if I'm a sacrifice having fun at homecoming, I might as well, walk away with a bag. And, I could tell you, even one time, as I got better at homecoming, once you start getting sponsors, I just remember getting, before I even had sold a ticket, having enough sponsorship to pay for everything, having like 35 to 40 grand in sponsors that was able to pay for everything. But this is well after I had taken a lot of L's. But through those L's, you do celebrate, collecting data, obviously, and putting together a dope event. That's when the photography becomes even more important. That's when the video becomes even more important, because you're trying to
crazy stories about that.
We got a crazy L about the recap.
Yeah, so
we paid a videographer for the whole week last year. Paid him up front. His name is I can give you his name as soon as I remember it. What's his name, bro?
Fernando.
Fernando what?
Yeah,
Nando.
Nobody should
Nando.
work with him. Everybody calls him Nando. Nobody should work with that guy in the future.
Yeah, he ran off on the plug. I still haven't found him.
Yeah, he messed up a lot of sponsorship relationships with that one.
Yeah,
I'll say this, man. Key. Like the biggest L y'all feel comfortable talking about.
That one.
Biggest L.
I tried to. You see how I tried to use that one?
That one. that one. Because documentation is key, guys. That was
a big. That's a crazy L because that ruined a lot of relationships with our sponsors.
I don't know who it was.
Yeah, that was the biggest L. Yeah, that was the biggest L.
That was our biggest L.
That was the biggest L. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like
because it wasn't just that money. It wasn't that money. It was the relationship
money
and the sponsorship money that we fumbled on.
Anyway, we finally built a relationship with a major sponsor, and we were strengthening a relationship with another sponsor. And because of loss of documentation and sponsorship and all of that, that relationship has now it's much rockier. You know what I'm saying?
So
I don't know if we can even get back to that.
What was that conversation like with y'all? Like, you know, how do y'all stay together? Because obviously, when there's a loss, you want to point the finger at somebody. Man, that was your man's who booked the photography. You know what I'm saying? How does that conversation go in the group?
I think with us, like, we're not really the point and finger perspective because we've seen other groups like dismantle real quick. And I think we took an oath together to say that ain't happening here. Like, it's a collective L, you know, a collective F up. Like, but at the end of the day, like, if you're pointing fingers, you're not utilizing your time properly to, you know, banish the wound real quick and get back to normal. And I think that's the one thing I don't remember any of us really just, you know, harping on anything. Like, we're gonna call each other out, but in a respectful way to build back to where we need to go. And right now it's about restoring the relationship that, you know, we kind of burnt, but luckily we're all good speakers and we actually can deliver on our product. And so they're still interested, but it's like you still are accountable for anybody you engage with. And we had to, you know, take in his accountability and be like, bruh, like anytime we see him, we're going to still address the situation. Like, that's just who we are. I'm going to talk about it when I see you, but I'm not going to hinder myself and my success because of somebody else. But I'm going to understand that, hey, I'm not going that route no more. Like, nice try next, you know? And that's just how we all operate, where we give you one chance. If you mess it up, that's your fault.
These guys are my brothers. We've been in text match arguments. We've been on screaming match arguments on the phone. Like, we're friends, we're brothers, but like we go back and forth. So when we're down, but we're gonna get back to it. You know what I mean? And I think that's been able to help us in a lot of situations. Because even our major financial losses, we were able to bounce back from as well because of that. You know?
No, for sure. I mean, people don't see that, man. I mean, not that you want them to see that, but you know, it's inevitable that you're gonna take a loss on something. You know, I've done events. Well, I've sold, and these are homecoming events. And at homecoming, you'll do an event, you'll sell 600 tickets, 200 people show up because people just buy tickets to everything. But then you still got a bar guarantee that you got to kind of handle. You know what I'm saying? So you end up on what you thought was going to be a big win. You know, you end up, you know, taking a loss. You know, the opposite might happen where you know, but as you get wiser, you oversell because you know that everybody not gonna show up. Yeah. People gonna tap out. So it's these things that come with being, you know, experienced in the game that, you know, you have to just learn, you know, from experience. You know.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, another loss, man, is homecoming 2020. That's looking like the biggest.
Right.
The biggest financial loss that we've taken.
Man.
So yeah, to answer your question, that's the answer. 2020.
Different factors too that's out of our control. Like,
and that's completely out of our control.
Yeah,
but I think
in DC, dealing with capacity restrictions from different clubs and bars, like the whole landscape. If homecoming was to happen, it's going to be completely different for promoters to go ahead and produce the same type of event that you did in years past, and to also expect the same financial return in years past. Like it's a whole new landscape moving forward.
But we are actively working to put together something creative. So GoHam will happen this year. It'll just, obviously be in a different format.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the reason we're able to do that, I think with experience comes the ability to like roll with the punches. You know what I mean? So you can go into a year planning, we got these 4 events, we got these 4 spots, and then somebody loses their liquor license or somebody gets shut down. And now you got to find a whole new club. The numbers are different now, but your tickets got to stay the same price because you already set that precedent, and you end up losing bread. You know what I mean? So I think, and that's happened to us as well during homecoming. But luckily, since we're all working together as a collective with our 3 generations of promoters working together, we've been able to support each other's events and like make sure nobody felt the loss harder than anyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trey, do you think the Lucky Strikes story relationship is a good story to tell? Like how we had to work that relationship. Yeah. I mean, now that the venue's is no longer here, we can speak on that.
Okay, so Lucky Strike was going through a lot of different changes. Like we came in there and first had to convince ourselves that we were worthy enough to be there in a party perspective because you're in the gallery center. And luckily, I give credit to the company I worked for right out of school, which is 2010 Media. My job was to be a nighttime influencer or specialist to get people buying and purchasing Duce when it first hit the market. And luckily, I put Lucky Strike on my account because it was a little easier to get to, and I like to go in there. I use my corporate card. And just building that rapport, the reason we got in that door was because of that just standard relationship. But it was a hard situation because they started taking away some of our income perspective too. Like I think the last year I think corporate had switched, if I'm not mistaken, Major, quote me on this one. I think they had taken away the fact that they were going to give a bar check. Yes. And so we had to finagle a different way to say, hey, these are the average numbers. And this is us thinking smarter as a group. Hey, this is the average numbers you used to give us. Let's make that a flat fee that y'all are paying for our entertainment costs. And we had to figure out ways that they understand our value because they want our business. But we had to go over the hurdle of even capacity perspective. The guy was very strict and I think, and I don't want to put a cultural barrier here because I don't know if it's all the way there, but you can still kind of feel that because you're in Chinatown Gallery Place. But looking at the angle of attack that we had to go from being polite, speaking and be like, no, this is how many people we can get in. This is why we're doing it. It was so much in regards to, there was so much opportunity to fail there, right? And I think we were very poised in the fact that we knew what we were walking into. And we had to just keep the numbers of like, they say we can only do this amount. And I give a lot of credit to Major on this one too. And all of our organization perspective, because if we didn't have it organized properly, it was a wrap. Like it was one of the situations where if we do one thing, goodbye. And I think now that, they closed, it sucks because people really like that place, but it was an uphill battle to get to where we got there. And we got there also because we did it properly. And there was a level of respect given from us doing it probably that one time, but they still went and tried to change it even years prior. And then I think we missed it 1 year. Excuse the dog too. He's a great guy. I think it changed 1 year because they started doing more go-go's, which was great because I think maybe we opened that door of availability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We availed that possibility and people probably don't even know who we are, but it's always that little small thing of comfort that somebody else may have just by us walking in the door. And that's what kind of power we probably give, especially being from the Howard perspective. Because people like us, they can say, oh, I could do more with these people. And that's
right.
Say,
yeah.
But that's probably what we did.
Yeah.
And Go-Go was running.
Once venues start letting us in there, they usually always shut down very soon after.
Yeah.
So, rest in peace to Lucky Strike.
How much do y'all think promoters have contributed to the brand of Howard?
We are the reason.
Oh, man.
Historically, you talk about from Diddy. You talking about from Diddy to whoever the promoter on campus is right now. I think that we're a major part of Howard culture, music culture. Like everybody comes to the Yard Fest.
Even the talent that is on stage doing Y'all Fest, that's not Howard getting those artists there. That's promoters that were hired to consult and put on that production. Kanye West coming to campus that Saturday morning. Was it Sunday morning? No, it was Sunday morning.
Saturday
morning.
No, that was a Saturday.
No, that was a Saturday, bro. Yep,
Yeah, Saturday morning. Dang, yeah, it was. Before
those were promoters that orchestrated that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't.
I even had a situation like that 2 years ago. Where
how do y'all think it affects the Howard brand?
Well, can I say this too? And I think we have to give credit to us as students too, and we have to put ourselves in that same boat too. Like, granted, we understood the business that somebody else would have took advantage of us of doing, but it really stemmed from the characteristics and characters that we have at Howard University. If it wasn't for the fact that you probably have the coolest people in every city coming to one place, around the world coming to one place, it probably wouldn't be the same, because other schools, the HBCUs, but the reason we get a high level of respect is because of what we do outside of school and in school. And the reason why we're so influential is because when they meet somebody like us, they're like, I want to be and meet more of your friends. Now it becomes the fact that homecoming becomes that melting pot of, oh, this is the person you've been talking about.
We had these classmates who then went on to go ahead and be somebody that's connected to either a major artist or have became a major artist, you know? Like, I remember when Howard, I think it was like probably 2 years after they changed their format, where they started doing ticketed events where now you have your Chase B's, who used to be a host at our Dream Team events, who's now like the official DJ for Travis Scott. And you look at it and you start building these connections where now students from Howard are making their own lane. Where you have Charmaine Walker, who was a regular student, a classmate of Duke and Trey's and Major, where now she has her own, lane in Black Ink and doing, more and more different things. It's that now you're starting to build these connections, and it's still stemming from like promoters who had these relationships from a student's, perspective. Mm-hmm. Now you're having that professional relationship where you have access to bring them back into Howard Homecoming on a professional level.
I mean, what does it feel like to go to homecoming or to because it's one thing to, go to homecoming as a civilian, you know what I'm saying? But now, when you pull up and you got the, like, to me, I remember the first time going to homecoming and you got it, and your joint sold out. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere you go, everywhere you go, everybody asking to get into your joint. Or also, how does it feel to walk away saying, like, y'all dominated homecoming, like, not just on this night or this day or whatever, but like, I'm sure a lot of promoters can make that argument, but because I felt that way, like, oh, I killed this shit, like, man, can't nobody tell me shit, you know what I'm saying?
What year was, my bad, John, what year was the year we brought out the cups, right? I don't know what year that was.
2 years ago, 18.
18. All right, I think it was Banks 5 years.
Yeah.
That year, I said, oh, yeah, we got something special,
Yeah,
and we giving out cups like, Frank Lucas giving out turkeys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to drink and use a cup. But
no lie, though, I low-key still true, like, even to this day, and I know for a fact Major and probably Duke got mad at me, but I low-key still treat Howard Homecoming as a big family reunion, while I am still a civilian. And I'm still like one of the people who just happened to have an event that night or the next night and the next night after that. And it's just my family reunion where I get to see all of my classmates, all of my peers I used to look up to, everybody that's coming up in their ranks, seeing they, how they scaling up in their careers and things like that, where I get lost in the sauce where it's just like, damn, I went to Howard. Like,
but what about, like, do you reflect on, like, okay, I'm at the number one Black institution in the world and I'm controlling, like, for me, I was like, man, you can't, like, if you can't talk about Howard Homecoming without mentioning me. You have to mention me in the 2000. Like, you have to mention me somehow. For me, I take a lot of pride with that. When I brought my wife back to homecoming, because she didn't go to Howard, she went to U of I. And so when she saw, like, every time we was going out that we was getting in free, and then not just that, the love that she would get, like, if y'all met her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She was saying, like, oh, you Josh's wife, blah, blah. Like, to me, man, to go back to homecoming, be able to make a bag, you know what I'm saying, to kind of feel like a almost celebrity, and then get that type of love? Like, what does that feel like, you know, for y'all?
I think for me, it definitely motivates me, and it lets me know that, like, all right, so I came back to New York because I was like, yo, if I can make it in New York, I can make it anywhere. But going back to Howard Homecoming and doing the damage that we do lets me know, and I think it lets us know that we could like start any business, have any idea, it's gonna be successful. I like if we decide to open up a club in New York, at least Howard's gonna support, and then we're gonna be able to do something big with it, or New Orleans or whatever it is. And I think for that epiphany came 1867 this past year, 2019. We're sitting there and bottles coming out, right? And like we sold this many tables, this is crazy. So we go to the back of the club to talk to the manager, like, yo, you know, we're trying to drink now. He's like, yo, I'm out of bottles. I'm like, what do you mean you're out of bottles? Like we sold out the club, and like we really sat there. Everybody, you sit back. I think for me in particular, I could stand in like a middle of a party, and it's all quiet for me. Like I don't hear the music, I don't hear anything. I'm just watching everybody have a good time, and I think that just keeps pushing me to keep going, and that's dope. You got 1,000 people drunk to some extent in the club, no drama. No fights, no issues. It's all love.
For me, man, it's like, Duke, it's funny Duke said like he could stand in a room full of party and feel like he's the only person there. For me, it's like when it comes to homecoming, it's like it's almost surreal. You see like old photos and videos of like Jay-Z at Y'all Fest and Diddy at Y'all Fest and Biggie, you know, performing at this and that. I think like, damn, like I'm a part of this. In 20 years and 25 years, like they're gonna be looking at pictures of my events, of my stuff, of, you know what I'm saying? And to be a part of that, to know that, like, for me personally, to know that flyer that you did attracted 700 people to come to one room. It's crazy, man. And also to get paid as well doesn't hurt. It's a surreal feeling, man.
And you can't erase those experiences, yo. You can't. Like I think people will never forget those experiences. They'll always have those, and that'll be coincided with Howard. Like the folks who came to our graduation parties, whenever they think about Howard, they're gonna remember that graduation party. The person who came to homecoming, when they think about Howard Homecoming, they're gonna remember that event for the rest of their lives. And if they're blessed enough to have met their business partner at a party, or they met their wife at a party, like that, yo, it started from this one dance at this one party, and now we getting married. You know what I mean? Like I think those are the things that it's dope to think about, and like that's why I personally keep doing it. You know, so
what event are y'all most proudest of?
That Friday event be smacking, man. I can't lie.
Yeah, man. I think Privilege, 1867 Privilege, started as Privilege. I think that was one of our. It was what we were very strategic in that event. Like we sat there like, yo, we got this party. It's 1,000 bottles. There's 1,000 people in it. You know, people are doing this, and it's like, yo, Howard is a privilege. Like going to Howard is a privilege. This Friday party should be a privilege too. So we got one of the dopest spots. Thanks to Major, we got one of the dopest spots in the city.
Oh, that was you, champ.
Yo, we got one of the dopest spots in the city. That was super small and intimate. Capital at the time. Everybody loves that spot that goes there, but intimate place. And it was like, all right, if you don't make it in here, then it don't mean nothing. Like this is a privilege. And that party grew so much. We were making money on that party that I think people had parties that were double the size of it that they weren't even seeing the same bread.
Privilege is definitely like that event for us. It's that staple. But to me personally, I think it's that Welcome to Howard, that Saturday event that we had at Lucky Strike. Like that's that last.
I agree with you, bro.
I agree with you, Banks.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro.
Before they go back out of town, before they go ahead, after they celebrated their 5-year, 10-year, 5-year line, 10-year line reunion, it's that last hurrah where people go ahead and connect and really just being like a chill, like laid back environment where it's not too much pressure, where you don't have to necessarily buy a bottle or buy a table, where you can literally just be yourself, come as you are, fresh out the tailgate, and literally connect with your classmates and your fellow Bison and be under the same roof where it's like, this is the environment where I'm now trying to connect, socialize, and basically give my last goodbyes or hellos before I go back to my, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, or whatever gig they may have.
What's some of the best finesse tactics that people have used on y'all?
Oh, what? Bruh, stop it.
To get in, because the classic one is what you doing today, what you doing tonight. The classic intro.
Like you didn't see the flyer. Like you didn't see me post a flyer.
Right. The funniest thing is people that know you already have the event happening.
Yeah.
And they text you. But it be your friends though too. So it's like you ain't really trying to hate on them, so you understand. But it's just so funny. And it's because this goes back to the fact that we gotta find a way to make them respect what we're doing. Which I think they're getting to it because we're getting older and we're becoming more of a premium. But just that, hey, what's up? And you know what it is. or like, but I sometimes like the ones that are just blunt and direct. And I'm working on the ones that I can start saying no more.
Or they be like, how much are y'all charging?
Like, GoHamHU.com.
How much are y'all charging?
Bro,
I tried to buy my ticket. It's not coming.
Shorty, I made the website. It works.
Yeah.
Shorty, I made the website. It works.
It works.
Yeah.
Hey, look, just cash at me.
Right. I don't want to pay the fee. All right, cool.
Hey,
just cash at me.
We be trying to make anything work for anybody, man. But I think people trying to finesse with passing the Eventbrite to somebody else used to be the thing back in the day. But now we caught that. It's like, come on, man.
That,
It's like that's easy catch.
How you doing, man?
How many people would y'all say y'all touch during homecoming?
Well,
on
Friday night we have 3 800 to 1,000 people parties, so at least 4.
But the cool
4,000
thing is the cool thing is, Duke,
people.
too, something that you would already said is that, and Josh, you do the same thing. Think about how many people that don't make it at Howard homecoming that you touch as well. So like us being physical touch is still happening from somebody spreading the word. So like having people, the real work really starts when the people get in the door, their experience, because they're gonna walk away and say, did they have a good time or a bad time? Like, and I hope we're telling this to other promoters too. Like, it's cool to sell all the tickets in the world, but the biggest real test is when the people are inside the building and how they feel about it. If they feel good about it, they will come back. If they feel like they got scammed, they be like, never again. And I think
I had to learn that from Trey.
Yeah, my bad.
I had to learn that from Trey. Trey used to preach that to me because I just wanted to sell. Trey was like, look, man. He kept using this experience word, and I was like, brother, I don't care.
I want to hear.
But he turned out to be right. And now I look at not just GoHam events, but I look at my own events that I do, outside of them. I care about the experience. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, how do y'all protect y'all brand and to keep it relevant? One of the struggles that I have is that, when I first started, selling out was 1 email, 2 emails. Now you got to be a lot more creative, with things. How do y'all protect y'all brand and keep it relevant, at homecoming? Because now, it's not, you got major players in homecoming, but with the internet being what it is, I always tell people, like, I'm 38. I shouldn't still be throwing homecoming parties at this level. You know what I'm saying? It should be somebody that's 22, 23,
Oh, we're going to have a conversation, Josh. I got you, bro. I would say, to answer that question, too, I think it's going to be challenging yourself to be authentic to what you say you're going to produce and what you say you're going to do. So I think the biggest thing that we're really good at is that we wanted to feel like a big house party or family reunion inside the party. So we're going to reach out to the people that we know we already want to be around in the general sense, Like, granted, I want the other people that I don't know to be there too, but I'm not focused on them until they come and focus on me, in a sense. Because the dollar bill is not everything. It's about that personal relationship. So I think the biggest thing we've been good at doing is that we really reach out to the ones that we already want to be there, especially the ones that are already going to probably hit you up to be there for free and that we're close to. And then we encourage them to make sure they're telling their friends as well. Because the biggest power we ever had in our community, no matter what, and will always be, is word of mouth.
Yeah. How come y'all don't think it's more women that team up and do events at homecoming?
I think they out there.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. I think in general there hasn't been that many women who like do event. We're seeing it now. Like I think there's a younger promoter who's a female who's been like who's a woman. She's been killing things. In her age demographic. I will say I think it's the politics of parties. I think a lot of people have become promoters as a necessity. Like for me, I started doing events because like I like going freshman year. I like going to the club. I knew I could get people to go, so it was a way for me to go to the club for free, right? I think most of the time women get to go to the club for free regardless.
Yeah,
so a lot of people become promoters in the beginning because they're trying to get into the club, and then that evolves into something else. But there are definitely women like in New York, not at Howard Homecoming, but in New York, that there are women who throw like big parties out here all the time. I just don't know why. I'm not sure why it's different at Howard.
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, dude. It really is just like the politics in that party space where you'll have like your Trey Poindexters who join so many organizations and so many much amount of women, especially with the Howard ratio being in what it is, where you don't really necessarily have to promote a party or do that, that groundwork or that leg work to get into said party for free, But at the same, retrospect, me and Trey especially, and Josh, I don't know if you've seen it lately, but I've seen like pals, well, women pals who created their own brand who are now trying to go ahead and, have like their own party or their own event space where they're now trying to make a name for themselves, where they're just not looking at it like, oh, I can just put on a dress, put some heels on and go to a party and have my own fun. Now I can actually be the brains behind it, still have my fun, still look good, but still brand myself and actually capture an audience where it's just a lot of, women professionals who want to go ahead and do their own thing as well.
Yeah, I think having women on your team are important. I think we all have had or have women on our team.
Oh, that's critical,
at the
man.
forefront. I think it's super important because when you're doing these events, I think you want everybody to have a good time, but you especially want Black women and women in general to feel safe and respected in these spaces. And sometimes I feel like as a male promoter, as a male event producer, you might miss certain things and you're not thinking in that light, right? But like we have a business partner. We do an event called No Signal, and we have a business partner. She's a woman on the team, and there are things she'll point out like, yo, y'all are tripping about this. Or like, if you do this, the women are going to feel like this. So it's important to have that in any sense of partnership or anything like that for sure.
I was about to say, Black women love supporting and helping Black men too. I would say that. I think they like supporting us a little bit more to support each other, and they're building into that support next. I think that's the hurdle that Black women are dealing with right now, to figure out how to build that connection with each other. And I think they're down there right there. But realistically, the Black woman understands like what our failures are or what we miss, and they grab it right away. And I think to the younger people, if they can figure out how to just include one person, one woman, that's always a good thing. 'Cause I know big thing with Dream Team, we had one woman face that we thought would represent what we wanted our woman to be that's coming to party with us. And sometimes women are just great representatives because they know how to held that light and say, this is what we represent today. Okay, this is what we're trying to give to the world. They know how to communicate it. Guys do too, but women, just like a nurturing perspective too. It's crazy. I don't know.
Finish this sentence. So without Paradigm, Howard Homecoming would be
spread out. I think that's a good way to say it. Spread out. I think our goal for real with GoHamHU was to bring everyone together. Everyone that wanted to party together, we wanted to bring them together. So, all the young folks party together, all that mid-range folks party together, all the little bit older alumni party together. We wanted to bring everyone together instead of everybody being all spread out at the 12,000 different parties happening. So I think without GoHamHU, Howard Homecoming would be a lot more spread out. That's what I'd say.
What advice do y'all have for cats that, want to, without dropping too many gems, you know, for cats that want to have a complete Howard experience as a student, and then, you know, kind of want to get into the game in terms of doing events?
I would say I'm an open book. So, like, if you want gyms, I don't think anybody's going to hinder any of us. And I think that's the next thing we have to do as a culture, to figure out how our businesses are going to be protected regardless if we're giving out all the facts. And I think the biggest fact that I would give somebody growing up through the Howard system is build things naturally. Don't think about the quick win in school. Think about the residual income outside of school. And I think I was happy that I kind of grabbed that knowledge of that fact, that I knew I was going to win now instead of winning then. And it's just like before we went to high school, like when we graduated high school, we knew college was going to be the next big thing. But alumni status is way better than undergrad status. It's like being online for 4 years, and when you get off, you got your letters, and that's when you reap the reward. So if somebody's looking at us, build that connection, build that true, genuine understanding of who that next person is, because they party too. And if you know somebody and understand them, it's going to be easier for you to party. You don't like partying with people you don't know. You feel more comfortable partying with people that you know. So if you build the right rapport, but at least get out there and do something, so you know that you want to be serious about this space, do it when you're in school. Because when you're outside of school, everybody's all over the place, you know. But when you're inside of school, you have everybody's attention, and you want people's attention. So when they graduate, it's easy. The reason why it worked for us, we had everybody's attention in different lanes. So they knew when we came together, Major already been doing parties. Duke's already been doing parties. Banks already been doing parties. Trey's already been doing parties. I want to mess with them because I already done it. I respected them when they were there, and now I'm coming back as an alumni. And just look at the future, because you'll be in the future soon enough. You know, so it's, you know.
To me, it's just network and be persistent. Like me and Trey, I could tell you to this day, Josh, I would not be throwing parties if it wasn't for Trey. When we literally had a drunk night, where Trey just had Dream Team finished, and we was literally, I was sitting here and I'm just like, yo, I'm trying to help you do Dream Team. I'm trying to throw parties. And from that conversation on, I literally have been persistent and trying to think of different creative ideas to also help our brand, help the Paradigm brand, help the GoHamHU brand to just be bigger than what it is. And I look back at it now, it's just that I was persistent and I was willing to network with all circles and all different crowds at Howard, where you go back on, you look at campus, you have your in crowd of people that's in organizations or that's in Power Hall doing different student organizations. Then you have your circles that you have students that's not doing anything. Like they're literally just there to grab a degree. Then you have your circle that's just students that's just, you know, straight peer athletes, like football players, basketball players. You know, granted, they might have a losing record that year, but they still want to go ahead and socialize and be amongst their students and fellow peers. And it looked back, well, yeah, like, yeah, I was a pal, and yeah, I was from New Orleans, and I was from the South or whatnot, but I wanted to meet everybody and socialize with them in different spaces. And to me, networking and being persistent was like a fact or a key for me to go ahead and grow an audience or grow a following where I can basically be in any circle and have the same conversations with them. And then later on that same weekend, be under the same roof with them, celebrating and socializing and getting to know their friends and getting to know different circles. So
I think your first part was like about the Howard experience. I'll say in general for the Howard experience, get out of your comfort zone and like talk to anybody and everybody, even if it's not somebody that you would talk to like when you were back home in high school. Just build those relationships, because you never know what can come out of that. And I feel like I had a great Howard experience because I didn't just hang out with like the guys from New York. You know what I mean? Like, and I say that because the New York guys usually, most New Yorkers at Howard are just known for religiously just sticking to themselves, and that's it. We live 4 hours away. We only hang out with New York people in DC, and then we go back to New York. But I think like I made a concerted effort to, you know, hang out with folks and from different places, and that opened up a whole different world for me. And then join your networks, join your organizations, build your network 100%. And I think be genuine, and being genuine, that applies to like your Howard experience, but also events and everything after that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've always been the one to charge people for parties, you know what I'm saying? But you knew if I was going to charge you, you were going to have a good time. And I think for me, that's great, because I was maybe charging $10 back then, but now we can go to a city and we're trying to do an event and we charge whatever price. But because they've had that experience with us, they know, like, one, we know it's Duke, we know it's Trey, it's Banks, we definitely got to pay, but we also know if we pay, we're going to have a great time. because when we were 21, they made sure we had a great time. You know what I mean? So I think it's just always being genuine as well is a part of that, man. So you got to think about the long term. You can think about the short term bread, yeah, but then you're going to lose out on people that probably would have rode with you for the rest of their lives.
I would say be willing to learn. I would say, well, I agree with everything they said, but also be willing to learn. I've been in the game since 07. First time I passed out a flag was 07, so 13 years. And I'm still constantly learning not only about the game, but learning about myself. Value your relationships. Don't take things for granted. And you have to be genuine. You have to, whatever your brand is, has to be who you are and what you stand for. The gimmicky thing and all that, all those guys come and go. So if you're gonna be in the game, or you aspire to be in this game, just be yourself, be genuine, be willing to learn, and be a boss. Be a boss. Be about it. Be serious. It's a business. There's a lot of money to make.
Yeah, and my other thing is, what I think, if you're younger coming up, find somebody, work with people that you feel like you can trust, right?
Yeah.
And that'll really school you to the game and teach you and pull you up. You may not always feel like you're getting the best out of the deal, but if somebody's genuinely has your back, like I've had people who I do events with who then taught me real estate and taught me a bunch of other things, and like they're partners outside of just events and in life and as friends. I think the best business is done with people who genuinely, like, you have a genuine connection with and who are real with you. And I think on that same note, it's be willing to do that for the people who come after you, right? So like my OGs, the older folks who put me on, I'm always going to support them because they held me down, they put me on, and that gives them more longevity, right? And hopefully with like the folks that we're working with and we're putting on game and all of that, when we're not the hottest folks out, they'll still be willing to like, yo, we'll still partner with you. We'll still push your brand and what you got going on because you helped us get to that point. And I think that's how we all get more successful as a group. And I think GoHamHU was a great way for us to be able to do that and bring generations together. Like we got to this point where, you know, Howard Alumni were like, yeah, we could throw our own parties. Like they realized that. Then everybody was doing their own stuff. Nobody was working together. And this was like our way of trying to bring everyone together, not just for everyone to have a much better time, because I think everybody coming together gives a better experience, but it also allows us to be more successful and be able to do this for a much longer period of time. You know, so.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, what are people saying about Paradigm 100 years from now? Or maybe not nothing, they all be dead. But, you know, when y'all bow out, man, what do y'all want the legacy of Paradigm to be?
I know for GoHamHU, we would love for everyone to be like, yo, because I think eventually it's going to be a time where you come to homecoming, you're not coming to party, or maybe we'll be doing like small gala events.
We're going to have stuff for that.
We're going to be doing like small gala events where we like 40, in our 40s, 50s, whatever it is. It'll be different type of vibe, but people are going to talk about like, yo, the 10 years where we were partying hard, you guys were like killing it. Like I remember every year, those 10 years, you know? Yeah. When they talk about Howard Homecoming and Homecoming at the Mecca. And hopefully this is a thing that we pass down to younger generations, and it's still going on in a different way. You know what I mean? And we're going to have the 50-plus parties and the 60-plus galas or whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know.
I would say, you know how we see big corporations and they switch CEOs and stuff like that, but you never know who's behind the big company? I would love GoHam to be in that same space where, you know, sometimes our Black community, it's like we always have that, I wouldn't say ego perspective, but we always want to be our own bosses and own the own thing. I almost want GoHamHU to be as neutral as possible, where we can have a different leadership in that space. Like there's always a certain thing that goes back to the founding perspective, but it's allowed for that next group of people like us to be those CEOs, but creating a platform that works. Because I think that name GoHamHU can still stick in any facet of, for instance, I'm still working with the people that are on campus right now. When they're ready to take that mantle, I want to be like, yo, here. But I mean, at the same time, we're founders. So I mean, of course, like founders always have something. But I want that to be something where Like if we are 100 years down the line and somebody's still using GoHamHU.com, shoot, so be it. I'm a happy man, you know. And we're still doing our little small events for our 50th anniversary of my wedding or something like that. But we're doing all as a Howard family, you know. 50. Or 50th anniversary for undergrad for school, you know. And I don't know if they still come back because I see a lot of old heads in the yard chilling with their family. But, you know, that may be that next avenue. And I think in 50 years, if we're still relevant in that space and we're doing something in that family perspective and we're switching our promoting skills to now the family aspect, man, that would be so cool for homecoming, you know, and still encouraging, you know, the alumni that's a lot older and seasoned to come back. And now we're giving the real big money to Howard, you know. So now the endowment of Howard's at another level because we created a cool perspective for everybody can still come back and have fun like they were undergrad. But now we have them checks that we can write. But it's stemming from the fact that we were still able to just see each other, encourage each other to do it, to have somebody else that have the same legacy that we are, you know. So that would be super dope, you know. I don't know how to get there, but I think if we talk about it, we get there some kind of way.
All right, so now, so if somebody wants to, you know, check y'all events out, you know, or find you guys online or follow you on social media, how would they do that?
MajorDobbins.com.
I think I'll run off the group stuff, and then everybody can run off their personal stuff. But at GoHamHU, so GoHamHU, that's the main page for us. And then and then at 1867 Privilege, or 1867 Privilege or 1867 Bison. That's the page for 1867 Privilege. And then we all got a ton of personal pages, but I'm at DUCRX, so at DukeRX is how you can find me. And then at Paradigm Online. I think that's for a group of us as well.
Yeah.
Personally, understand real estate is key, so holla at me. Homesbytrey.com, baby. And again, parties still stem to other business relationships. So there's so much talent in the room every time you come to a Howard party. Do not take it for granted. Like, know that you're standing next to royalty. Like, all royalty. But speak up. Talk to somebody you haven't met. I mean, just like how we think a girl look good from across the room. Shoot, that business deal look the same way. I don't care. Holla at me. So, yeah. And I think GoHamHU.com all day, every day.
What's your personal handle, bro?
Yeah.
Homesbytrey.com. It's all business. No, Motivated Trey. Personally, follow me. I love to stay connected. But yeah, at Motivated Trey, the world needs motivation day by day. Holla at me.
Yeah. Definitely on the socials, bee.banks. And definitely to our 2 traveling events under the Paradigm umbrella, No Signal Party and Black and Bougie for all of our Howard alumni in different cities across the U.S. Hopefully after this pandemic, we'll be able to travel again and throw some more successful events where we can be able to create new experiences for our Howard alumni in different cities.
And can I put in Eat Noir? That's the next thing we're going to work on next. Just cultivating, business thought, conversation around the Black community and food, because we need to be more represented in the culinary art arena. Major, what's up, baby? MajorDobbins.com.
Instagram, Major Dobbins. Obviously, GoHamHU.com. I am actually looking for graphic designers and social media people and just digital marketing gurus of that nature to work with. And I also do digital marketing, obviously, for small businesses and brands. So if you need any work, hit me up as well.
That's what's the tag for that, Major? Creators HD?
Creators HD, yeah.
Dope, man. Hey, y'all been great guests, man. So right now we're gonna transition into a little Howard Jeopardy. See what y'all know about the alma mater. These are all easy questions, and it's a group
Trey
of
got
y'all.
all the answers. Trey got all the answers.
Well, yeah, he's a campus pal, so he should have your pal should have this on lock, man.
Welcome to the location. Welcome.
All right, first question, real easy one, man. What year was Howard founded?
Oh yeah, 1867.
1867, baby.
Where'd y'all stay at as freshmen? What dorms?
Drew Hall.
Drew Hall.
Bro,
All right,
I
what's
can't
the,
lie, man. I was in Carver and I switched over to Drew. First day.
Right.
I said no. I said no.
In my mother's basement.
What's the address of Drew Hall?
Drew Hall?
529 Gresham.
Gresham. Something Gresham. 529 Gresham. Yeah.
Howard, China.
511 Gresham Place, man.
511.
Place, yeah. The reservoir.
I had a 5 in that joint.
What's the zip code for Howard?
500.
You said the zip code?
Zip code. What's the zip code for Howard?
What was it? 20059.
Or 20009?
59. That sounds right.
20059.
59.
20059. I know there's a 5 in there somewhere. Yeah.
All right, finish this sentence. Reared against the eastern sky.
Reared against the eastern high above hilltop high. No. Hold on. Far above hilltop high. Reared against the eastern sky. Far above. Stands up shooting. I don't know. That was swim class, bro.
Campus Pal, ladies and gentlemen.
No. That was swim class for everybody. So like swim class.
I didn't take swim class.
Man. That was the next line. I knew it had hilltop high in that joint.
Yeah.
Probably there on hilltop high.
See?
Here we go.
I would just say far up on hilltop high.
I know it once we're singing it. It comes to me.
Okay. What's the Black National Anthem?
The whole thing?
No, just the title. What's the name of it?
The Black National
Anthem.
You said Future?
Yeah, one of Future's records.
Man. Damn,
you
man.
Can't say that.
That's sing, man.
Lift every voice and sing.
Yeah, lift every voice and sing.
Lift every voice and sing. Yeah,
who was name three presidents of Howard? 3 presidents.
Hey, you know
Wayne
we had
Rabeau.
I like Rabeau, man.
Rabeau. I don't know.
Wayne Frederick, I like him.
Dr. Wayne
Swaggart.
Swaggart.
Who was who's Howard named after?
General something Howard.
Yeah, white guy.
Otis Howard.
Otis Howard.
Yeah.
All right.
General.
Now we're gonna switch to rapid fire, man.
That wasn't rapid fire?
No, that was Jeopardy, bro. Now with rapid fire, man, you just got to give an answer, and it could be a 1-word answer or whatever comes to mind after I finish whatever I say. So, first one is U Street or Adams Morgan.
U Street.
Is homecoming better as an alumni or student?
Alumni.
When you got the bag, it's different, man.
Shut up, but still.
Best Howard moment.
Graduation, man.
Getting accepted.
Whew.
Freshman week,
yeah. That took me back just then.
Yeah, freshman week, definitely, man. That shit was epic. Howard men don't cheat.
Facts.
It's not true, guys.
Hey,
you might have to edit that one out.
On test? No, we don't cheat on tests. We don't cheat on tests.
Quad or annex?
I'm an annex guy.
Annex
for sure.
I love the quad women too, but like annex is just, I don't know, something about it. It's the water.
Annex.
Something in the water.
Something in the water.
Something in the water.
I had that 3-1 lead. I'm gonna stick with the booty wall with the quad, man.
I feel you be back.
They were most sensible there. You had your bougie cats at the.
But hold on,
the
Banks.
quad was too hot, man.
Which
too hot.
Which area? Which area though? Fraser, Baldwin.
Baldwin easily.
Quad, you had to walk out with your head down because you never knew who was on that wall.
Hey,
yeah,
that's the risk you took every time going in that joint.
That's why I moved off campus. Now Meridian for everybody else though. That's the best door.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Meridian for sure.
Homecoming or grad week?
Homecoming,
yeah.
So if you got to start one, you got to bench one, you got to cut one. A dope theme for a party, the best venue, or the best celebrity.
Cut the celebrity.
Yeah,
cut the celebrity.
Howard
don't care about that.
We don't care about that. Yeah.
But we love y'all celebrities, but like we want y'all there as friends because you got to be family with us.
Yeah.
The themes. The thing. I'm starting the theme. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
We could always make do with whatever venue we have.
Yeah.
You know
I always say that. We could throw a party in a brown box. You still gonna have a good time. That's your job as a promoter.
You still trying to make that one venue work. I can't say its name.
Facts.
Yeah. Hey. But
tailgate at Yard Fest.
Yard Fest. No,
tailgate, man.
For sure.
Sleepwalking in that joint.
Undergrad is Yard Fest though.
Yeah.
Tailgate's
right, start one, bench one, cut one. Traveling party. You kill homecoming, or a crazy festival that y'all produce.
Ooh, well, we did all three of those.
Start one, bench one, cut one.
Wow.
Man, this is tough. Tough.
I love the traveling parties, but like as I'm getting more of a, like I'm about to be married soon, so I'm gonna have to cut that in a little while. But I'm still gonna do it, but I gotta, just for longevity, my wife can probably deal with homecoming once a year and then a festival once a, but that traveling party gonna be sticky.
Yeah, I think the traveling party leads to the festival, right? So homecoming is the foundation that allows you to do. Howard's the foundation that allows you to do a traveling party, and the traveling party gives you that ammo and those connections to do like a major festival, which will probably make you the same amount of money that 10 parties the whole year would have made you.
Josh, I plead the fifth.
Start the festival, I guess, bench homecoming, and cut the traveling parties eventually. But I don't know. That's a tough one.
I'm starting homecoming personally.
That's real,
man.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
What's the best venue in DC right now?
Ain't no venues in DC right now. If you think
consistent.
about it.
Park.
Park's the best one, but if you're looking at it from a promoter standpoint, you're gonna have a great relationship working. Ultrabar, not that whole whatever that group is, like Barcode Group, but Barcode's owned by somebody else now. They do a good job of welcoming in promoters, because Mark's done a great job from the standpoint of understanding business ethics. He is a definition of being a promoter and an owner. That's why we have to become owners. He does it properly. It's like, it's my system. This is what I'm running.
All right, so you got to start one. This is the last one. Start one, bench one, cut one, park, love, and dream. Even though love and dream is the same thing.
It's the same place. But I miss dream.
Love, bro.
Love. Hey, I'm gonna have to start love again at the right place.
Love. Yeah, you got a bench. You got a bench. You got a
bench park.
You got a bench park. But I heard Dream was crazy though. Dreams was crazy. So I just wasn't here for it.
I wasn't here for Dreams.
That was my senior year, man. That shit was.
It was.
Yes.
So we had the aftermath of Dream, and it was like the last bit of that feeling with love. So it may be I ain't trying to cut Park either, because I got good jerk wings or something like that. But like,
bro, saving your friends.
Listen, man, he owned all three of them.
He owned all three. He wins anyway.
Yeah, Mark is a legend, bro.
He a winner. Give credit where credit's due, man.
That's why we need ownership, man. I think you see that longevity when it's like people who genuinely enjoy what a club should feel like during an event, and then they own the space. That's where you get this longevity that Mark has seen, right?
Yeah, he had Republic Gardens before that. Republic, that was before my time.
And if some of the seniors that are on campus are like, if they're able to, get in that network, like he respects all of us because like, we, hold our own. But like learning and understanding, like, it's a harder way to learn. That's a harder person to learn from. But if you can pull out the gym somewhere, he's a really smart individual. And you got to give credit. Like,
all you got to do is watch him. If you just sit and just watch him, you'll learn more watching him than
no matter what deal you got from him.
Yeah.
But that business side of things is just like, but you know what? You got to respect for the fact that he gonna push you to say you got to be your own owner. That's one thing. He gonna put you on. I will step in, step out.
Yeah, he gonna be like, yo, look around you. I should tell you what again? Like he gonna put it to you like that. But it's dope working with him. But yeah, man, y'all been dope guests, man. I know a lot of shit is going on in the world right now, so appreciate y'all taking the time out and chopping it up, man. So it's good to get to know you guys.
I like your background, Josh.
Yeah, I'm in my office, man.
I just like the Howard,
like the bookstore, bro.
Look, if you take it
nice.
Hey now.
I gotta step my game up.
When you walk in my office, I'm an insurance agent. When you walk in here, this is what you see. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah,
nice.
man. But appreciate y'all boys, man. Thank you for joining the H.U. Move Mecca podcast, where we highlight folks that have contributed to the Howard legacy at the highest levels. To hear more interviews or purchase merchandise, please visit www.humovemakers.com.